but up until recently hasn't gained as much traction as it deserves. You see the resilience of today's customers and how smart they've become, the evolution of how the markets have become so dynamic, plus the issues with running a business during the pandemic, and even now that things seem to have settled a little, has resulted in businesses and organizations recognizing the need to find innovative ways to interact with relevant users rather than just relying on the typical broadcast or digital media buys. But there's still so much information for businesses right now that is not out there. And I think that's why we chose this topic for this month. I think that's the stage that we are at. And I think it's a relevant discussion to have. So I'm so happy to announce that we have some amazing experts present here today, one of whom is an AdTech guru himself. So I'm urging you all to please pay close attention as we cover the key points that touch on AdTech and how that can help you engage with your customers and convert to revenue generation and bring you closer, hopefully, to meet your 2021 business goals, ultimately. So now our panelists for today. First, we have Mr. Alex Fedosev. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You did. Yes, that was good.
Thank you. Good. So he's the CEO of One World Online. That's a software platform for publishers and brands that dramatically increases engagement of site visitors and brings new revenue streams with its unique combination of advertising, data, and analytics. Trust me, he knows his onions. Mr. Alex, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for inviting.
Do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, you want me to do a brief intro?
A brief intro would be fine.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's an exciting topic to talk about engagement and how the advertising business is changing to bring more value to the consumers and make the whole experience and promotion much more organic. And like you said, to fit the environment of today's world, especially post-COVID or during COVID, because small businesses and not so small businesses, they need completely different set of tools to survive and deliver their messages and their offerings to people. And I believe it should be done in a completely different way going forward. I call it organic advertising versus the old school buy me type of advertising, which means that it has to be engagement with the audience. I believe that incentives are very important to keep the audience motivated to continue coming to the website or application and continue reading the content and engaging. And then advertising comes on top of engagement, and it's completely different conversion rate if it's done the right way. And One World is a truly global company. We have presence not just in North America, but in Africa, Latin America, Europe, Asia, other parts of the world. I believe that world becoming global, and everybody online should be involved in this new experiences, right, and opportunities. That's part of our philosophy.
Well, thank you for that brief intro, sir. Second, we have Mr. Muyiwa Aleshiloye. Is he around?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, hi. So he is the ED, Executive Director, GRC and Technology, VFD Group PLC, that's a mouthful. Mr. Muyiwa is a marketing professional with over 10 years experience in business strategy, digital marketing, and brand management. And he's passionate about training professionals in the field. I'm sure you're excited to share your knowledge with us today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to give a brief intro to something?
Yeah, really excited about the opportunity. I think more and more businesses, brands are looking at innovative ways to connect with the audience. Today's audience is the empowered one. They know what they want, and they wouldn't settle for less, regardless of all those 4 P's of marketing, right? And so we need to rethink how we engage this audience. And tech has been an enabler over time, right? And for us as advertisers, as marketers, it's important that we take the understanding of the consumer and match that with technologies, new media to serve them the right message at the right time within the right device as well. So Really excited to just share and also learn from other panelists. Really excited to hear different views from the panelists as well, and also the Q&A.
Thanks for that intro, Mr. Miwa. Third, we have Ms. Suziet Uke Agazie. Oh my God, I'm sorry if I murdered your name. She is the CEO of Mom at 40 NG. Suze is a brand storyteller. She's an expert in marketing and corporate communication and focuses on the ideation, development, and execution of human-centric portfolios. She has worked with a variety of brands, trust me. We don't want to get into it, that's a whole lot of people, a whole lot of companies. But I mean, how do you do all that and still stay so beautiful and gorgeous? That's just me asking right now.
Thank you, January.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess it's working in an industry that I have a passion for, that keeps me going, keeps me active, and keeps me looking gorgeous. You are on mute. You're on mute, Geraldine.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Thank you for joining us and thank you for that intro. But finally, and definitely not least, we have Mr. David Adefumilayo, founder and strategy lead at Efico Resources. I think David is probably the most noble of the bunch today. He has dedicated his career to providing valuable resources to millions of undergraduates and secondary school leavers. Ultimately, he wants to liberate economic prosperity in the entire African ecosystem, which I personally think that is a beautiful thing or a beautiful goal to have. So much so that he has built his company around this. Mr. David, do you want to shed some light on what that is about? Hello? Did he get that? I don't think he's on the call, is he?
I think it does.
Okay. Well, I am sure he will join in very soon. So anyway, as you can see, we've selected like quite a few, like an early group of speakers, and I'm personally super excited that you all are here today. Thanks again for being here. So to the audience, if you have any questions you'd like to ask any of them, please write it down in the chat room in this format. Your name, your location, name of business, that's optional if you're starting one or if you already have one, the question that you have, and we'll be sure to answer them when the time is right. Please keep your microphones on mute so that we don't have any distractions or disruptions at this time, and so we can have a seamless conversation. And please, our panelists, this is a conversation, so please feel free to share your opinions on whatever questions that I say or ask. And if they've not been directed to you, you can just give your opinion, that's fine. So let's quickly get into it. I think my first question here is under the focus point, AdTech basics. And I think I'm going to direct that at Mr. Alex. Why does AdTech matter so much in digital advertising for businesses, especially when it comes to small businesses and startups?
Yeah, the value of the platform for small businesses. Is that the topic you want to cover? Yes. Yeah, I believe that in today's market, all advertisers, all companies, especially small businesses, they should have choices and try to talk directly to their audiences, engage the audiences, motivate them, and advertise or deliver a message of their choice. And in this case, I believe the direct communication is really the key, right? Instead of using some intermediary, big tech, social media, or big tech solutions that exist for years, and not necessarily serve the small businesses the right way, because usually it's expensive. Not all data analytics is available. And over time, it's become increasingly risky to be dependent on big third-party players, which might change their policies like they do all the time. And small businesses cannot afford it. They definitely want to have direct communication and ability to talk to their audiences, deliver message, and achieve their business objectives. So that's why I think the advertising tools of next generation are necessary for small businesses to survive, which means that they can create their content, distribute their content, get response And advertising, in my mind, should not exist outside of communication, engagement, and research. It should be organic part of the ongoing interaction between brands and small businesses, especially, and their customers. So that's the new role, the way I see it. It should be organic, based on engagement, and not to create these painful dependencies on big tech. That's why I believe in decentralized models. I think that's the future. We're going to see a lot of companies, a lot of solutions coming in the next decade, which will be built on completely different principles than Google and Facebook and Instagram and so on, but rather have a direct communication, much more efficient, with the full ownership of data that is generated through this communication. And one thing I think is very, very important is incentives, because when people get incentivized for their online engagement, the world will be different. And that's what's lacking right now in the big tech world.
Well, thank you so much for that. So does anyone have anything they want to contribute to that question? All right, well, Mr. Muyiwa, would you describe how AdTech works for small businesses looking to start their digital transformation journey?
Thanks for that question. So it's very important to, first of all, note what small businesses are looking for, particularly in this market, Nigeria, West Africa, SSA, and also the availability of the technology within this market. There are the big giants the known names that have provided this AdTech platforms. There are also small players. Can I mention names? Okay. There are also some other players that have come into that foray, right? To kind of democratize that space. Effectively, what AdTech really serves is that it gives you technology, it gives you data, it gives you people, right, to help you make sense of your data, your consumer data, and all of that. I also would lend credence to what Alex said. It's important that businesses focus on getting their own first-party data. And that starts from digitizing your data. That starts from digitalization, moving on to digital transformation. You cannot successfully take advantage of AdTech if you do not have your data in the first place digitized. And so the focus for businesses, particularly in this market, first of all, ensure that all your customer data, your names, emails, all of that, you are collecting it and you're storing it digitally. That's how you can actually make sense and optimize whatever AdTech solutions are really available to you. So before we get into what AdTech is, I think the basics needs to be checked off by small businesses. And I've worked with several small businesses over time. The first thing when you really audit, you see that they're not keeping data, they're not storing digitally, and so they can't work with their own data. So they are relying heavily on either second-party or third-party data. Most of those second-party data are abused. Some of them are false, and it's not reliable. What AdTech really is to give you reliable data that you can use to understand your consumer, create lookalike audiences, as the case may be, whatever it is you need, helping you achieve whatever your business objective is at that point in time. So yes, I will take it at that. I know there are other questions we can lead up to as we go further, but the important thing is to get the basics right.
That was beautiful. You have actually merged one other question with the answer to this one, which is amazing. So basically, knowing data and knowing the value of data is important when trying to leverage AdTech in business. That's what we're saying, right?
Absolutely.
So very, very, very quickly, let's move on to the next question. Suzette, we've talked about data. We've talked about how important AdTech is how important data is to AdTech. But what about content development? I know you're an expert in the field, but what role does content development have in the adoption of AdTech to improve customer interaction?
So I think I would say they go hand in hand. Content is very important generally for anything digital. Like they say, content is king in the digital space. So while building, one of the good things that AdTech does, the tools of AdTech does for content development is it helps you create and make informed decisions in the creations of your content, because you know what your customers out there they want. You know how the medium they're using to receive your communication. You know how they perceive you online. You can hear what they're saying about your competition and what your competition is doing, so you can build better informed content. And as Muyiwa said, it also helps you collate more data that you use in the future to build more content that are relevant to your consumers, which also in turn builds your business and grows your market.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. But Mr. Alex, just back to you very quickly. You run a company that thrives on content creation and content development. How does that all play in, the adoption of AdTech here?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Susie when she said the content is king, right? And the nature of content, the format of content is also very important. And our original idea of OneWorld is deliver content in interactive format, like polls or quizzes or debates, when they show people two views of the same problem in the same article. And that works beautifully because engagement usually a few times higher if you give people interactive tool and let them answer the questions, give them voice to the audiences so they can express their opinion. And that immediately creates a different type of relationships between the publisher or small business who produce this content and the audience. And what we see is that it plays double role because you get your message out in a very gamified, nice interactive format, but also you're collecting feedback. And I think it's equally important for any companies, including small businesses, get the message out and measure how people react to this message. That's why I believe interactive content is a very good format overall. Yeah, and going back to what Miyawa said, it's definitely important to have access to full data collected and digitized, because then you establish communication channel with the audiences and you continue reusing it. And people do it voluntarily. That's a big difference between our new approach versus the big tech approach, because people voluntarily join this communication. It's not happening behind their back, which I don't think is the right model going forward, because many countries are really respect privacy and they do not want to create any experiences and or any use of data which is not really compliant and authorized by users. So I think this world where the content is generated by publishers, there's or brands, there's a feedback collection, and there is a very accurate use of data for the business benefits. That's how the AdTech should work going forward versus the completely broken big data type of model that we have today, which doesn't benefit small businesses at the end. They're just forced to use this model because there's not much competition. But like was mentioned earlier, there are some new next generation companies coming in, including small companies that, much more honest, transparent, right, and do the right thing for small businesses and creating some value for people, not just for the corporate profits. Looks like we lost the host for a second.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. I got off for a second.
No worries.
So, yeah, you concluded what you were saying? Okay. Well, so I mean, we've already established that content is king, and I don't know if it's just me, but does it seem like even the bigger companies? I know we're focused on SMEs right now, but does it seem like even the bigger companies might be taking for granted the importance of content when it comes to their to engaging with their customers and dealing with developing communication channels and all that? Is it just me, or am I flipping out right now?
Anyone can answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's just you.
No, Cesar, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's just you. I think yes, some of the big businesses are not doing it right. That's what I would say. Basically, what I found out with time is that this issue is generally not because they are not aware of what they should do or what not to do. Most times they don't update their staff the people in charge on what's trending, because the industry is ever evolving. So what you know yesterday might not what is key today. So it's important that you keep yourself updated daily as much as you can, so you can catch up with the trends. And because of that, sometimes they challenge the agencies, helping them to how will I say, to build this, because they think or they don't know that such a thing is happening. Yes, we can know everything, but then when you have an agency that is up to date with what's going on, you should believe in them, trust them that you're doing the right thing to help you. I think that's majorly what I have seen, though, that affect the big companies.
Thank you for that. Mr. Miwa, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I have a different opinion, perhaps because I've worked directly with brands that have adopted ad tech in its fullness and are to an extent leading the narrative, particularly in this market, West Africa across. So you have brands, first of all, focus on the need for having their own data, first-party data, and of course, leveraging on third-party data to serve communications that fit their audiences. Stuff like personalization at scale, dynamic creative optimization. You start seeing that with brands like, I would mention them, Visa, Mondelez, leading the charge, Samsung leading the charge with that. You would never see a Samsung ad for, if you're using, for example, S21, right, or S20, you never see a Samsung ad for a, I don't know, a lesser model, for the A series, for instance, because what we see is we identify that user to say that this person is using a premium phone. And so if he or she is gonna, that unique identifier, if he or she is gonna need to change that phone, the person will want to upgrade. So you will see an ad for either a Note 20 Ultra or for an S21. And using ad tech, we're able to create a unique identifier for that individual based on their habits, what Wi-Fi you use to log into your several devices, whether your work laptop, your personal laptop, your mobile phone. If you're logging into the internet with the same Wi-Fi or masked location, for instance, we can say that this person is probably the same person across these 3 devices. So ad tech allows us to now put all of that together to say that wherever that person is, whether you're on, browsing on your Chrome or you're moving to Safari, whatever browser, or you're on social, we can see you as one identity and serve you that communication wherever you go. Right, so it's personalized and you're seeing that message. It's going to be different. We're running several creatives at the same time, and you may not understand or acknowledge it because you're seeing a communication that is directed at you, right? You don't see what other people see. So it's the people at the back end that understand what is going on, that, you know, we've created about 4 or 5 different creatives, right? And we're serving them to this bucket of target audiences, taking up their unique identifiers, their habits over time, in-market audiences, affinity, history, historical data, lace that as well with some first-party data to ensure that we're getting bang for our buck, right? Regardless of that campaign objective at the time.
Okay, so 2 different perspectives, but both make very valid points. Does anyone disagree or want to contradict any of the 2 people that have spoken?
David? Yeah, just a comment from me, because it was interesting
Okay.
discussion. I believe we need both. We need some historical data, if possible. Like we just discussed, that there could be a third-party data available or any other source that happen to exist. And plus, on top of this, real-time data is also equally important. And it would be actually best to combine these 2 together, because you do want to know both the historical behavior of your customer, what this customer did in the past, and some of the preferences and habits, and some immediate real-time data, for example, response to the question, the very beginning of the engagement, how a person reacted just now. And I think the best advertising solutions will be built on combination of both factors: historical data about this individual and how this person just engaged a moment ago. And then I think it will be best of both worlds. That's actually what One World is doing. Depending on how we respond to the question, let's say a new mobile phone is out, right? And the advertising creative includes the question, what do you think about this model? Are you interested, or would you consider it to be an innovative device? And when people respond to this yes or no, that's immediate, very valuable data come in real time. But if on top of this, there's some DMP or some other source of information about how this person reacted to the previous questions or what was the behavior, I think now we have super hyper-targeted opportunity to present the right advertising to this person. So it's kind of a hybrid model in my mind.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Mr. David, you finally joined us. I was trying to hype you up earlier, but we lost you for a second. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, okay, so I'll quickly jump in and ask you one question.
Yeah, so
you're going to say something? I think there's a lag.
No.
Wow. I think there's a lag with your internet. Just can you disconnect and reconnect? I'll move on to the next question very briefly. So Mr. Alex, though, I'm sure you are an expert with how advertising tools can help any business system. Would you discuss integrating advertising tools into any business, small, big, medium?
Yeah, we have actually a variety of cases when One World interactive tools help to promote various interesting events, and especially for small businesses. I'm a huge fan of everything that happening online and has an international nature. I think that might be a very promising market because a lot of people started doing business which doesn't have any boundaries, right? For example, they sell something online, they offer informational services, and I consider it to be probably the most promising market. And one success story I'd like to share, because you will probably find it remarkable, it's our customer called Babylon project. They did a big hackathon late last year. And first they, I think, wanted to do it locally and then expand it. And the founder of this company is actually originally from Nigeria, but lives in San Francisco Bay Area, a very passionate entrepreneur. And he managed to build a really powerful online community. So when we started promoting this project, Babylon project, over the internet, I believe he put equal budgets into all traditional tools like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, Instagram, and some budget into One World Online. And what we created for this project is a set of creatives and a landing page, which was very concise, very brief. And the overall experience when people see the advertising of this event and then transition to landing page was very targeted, because when people answer the question, they transition, they see responses, they can see the answer to the questions and statistics, and then they see offer to register. And it's online, of course, right? So everybody can attend this conference. We managed to get more than 1,000 participants out of 3,000 total. And we beat Google, Facebook, and Instagram 4x, 4 times better performance on the same budget. And the reason I think it happened because we focused on interactivity and a good user experience all the way end to end. And that's what I see how small businesses can grow very quickly, because if there's a chance for them to promote online to new audiences and new markets and just use more modern tools, there could be some amazing results. I understand that not applicable to all the businesses, right? Some of them have local audiences and they have to ship product, for example, physical goods in a certain territory. But if the business is doing something global, especially online type of business, I think it's huge. We can create a lot of jobs and give the right tools to entrepreneurs to become successful fairly quickly. And I think that's what we need collectively, right? We need more opportunities where people can utilize their skills, create jobs, and succeed and prosper, right, in this global connected world. So that's where I'm looking very actively. I think that's a big share of the market.
Okay, thank you for that. Ms. Sue, I know you just or recently started your own company, Mom at 40, right? What impact does understanding ad tech have on how your company is currently run?
Okay, so Mom at 40 is not It's actually a non-for-profit social enterprise. And yes, we depend solely on a lot of technology to push communication out, because it's an initiative bordered around some major health issues in the country presently. And we use AdTech to push this communication, especially to Nigerians in the diaspora and some foreign people, though it doesn't really affect them, just basically Africans as much. So we depend solely on it to get our communication out, because presently we would say the world is online, and if we want to create the needed awareness, get the needed information out there, we need these tools to help push our communication, help build our audience. And so far, so good. In a year, we're able to partner with an American community to build the initiative. And we're going to have our second event this September. We have, in short, it's been tremendous using the tools to build more maturity.
Okay, well, thanks for that. And I'm happy to hear that you guys are making so much progress, good work that you're doing. But Mr. Muyiwa, you seem to have a lot of experience, in the back end and with developing strategies and all that good stuff. Would you give a breakdown to the development of the perfect ad campaign for small businesses? Just a little, what would you regularly advise businesses to do?
First, there's no perfect ad campaign. But I like to approach strategy with this principle. And I got it from Stephen Covey, one of the 7 habits of highly effective people. And he says that begin with the end in mind. I think that in setting up campaigns, it's very important that you start with a clear vision of what the end would look like. And some will call that, what will success look like? What are the KPIs? That has to be clear, because as you go into strategy, which is how do I get from A to B, you need to be clear of where B is, right? So establish that basics. For any successful campaign, you want to, at the start, you want to say, what do I have? And that's maybe data, right? That should be data, actually. That should be data at the start of it, because we say we are doing data-driven marketing, right? It's not just a slang. So what is the data that you have? This could be quantitative data or qualitative data. It would be understanding of the market, your consumers, your product. And based on that, you can now set up a media strategy, right? To say that this is how I want to reach the audience based on their habits. You can also come up with a creative or content strategy. And I like that we talked about content, because a lot of time we focus on the media side of things and forget content. I think it should be integrated in how we approach solutioning. And so once you identify the channels based on, and channels is not based on the whims of your media planner, it's actually on data that you see based off of your consumers, right? To say that this is how they interact, and this is also the journey I want to take them on, right? So if you're introducing a new product, there's a journey you want the consumer to take from seeing the products to making inquiries to purchase and converting, right? And you want to be clear about where those conversion channels are, whether it's online or at point of sale. And as much as possible, you want to be able to attribute for each of those steps, right? Reverse back to the start. That really is the work of the strategist. And I think it's really important that before you even put your hand on a mouse to click on anything, you need to see all of that in your mind's eye to say, this is the journey for the consumer, and this is how I want to track progress. This is how I want to measure success. Then you now go to people like Alex to say that, here's what I have in my mind. Here's my product, here's my service. here's the expected outcome. How can you help me achieve that? And Alex would say, oh, we will do content seeding. We will take them to a landing page, collect user data, just name an email for now because we want that process to be seamless. And then we take them into a user pool, do a poll to say that do they want this or do they want that? You build all of that, whether it's a decision tree or whatever it is, build that journey, and then he runs it for you. Every day, every 2 days, depending on your budget, you say, how are we tracking based on that objective, right? And you iterate, you make changes. That's why I said there's no perfect campaign, because at the end of every campaign, what you want to see and what you want to feel is, this is what worked, this is what didn't work, this is what I can do better the next campaign. And it's important, again, you start with all of that data that you've gotten at the end of the campaign, and you use that as seed, as fodder for your next campaign. That is, in quotes, the perfect campaign.
Yeah, you're muted, Janrade. Yeah, well, while you're unmuting, let me make one point, because I'm so glad that we have mentioned this user journey, because we all know one touch might be not enough to sell or advertise anything, right? It has to take some period of time and a few touches. You know, in theory, it could be 4 to 5 touches before consumer makes a decision, unless they're really into something and buy immediately. And that's very important for advertising industry. It's ongoing, right? Advertising effort, not just one campaign that usually small businesses need, right? To make customers aware of their product, and then after multiple touch points to accomplish their business objective. So user journey is definitely a perfect way to describe this. It's not a one-time event, it's ongoing, right? And you need both historical data, real-time data, and some ongoing engagement to maintain these relationships, because you don't want a one-time success, right? You want ongoing relationship with your customers. Businesses, small or big, they need the same thing. They need loyalty, they need a certain level of engagement all the time, not just once.
Absolutely.
You back, Janrade? You need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're back.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. My system was frozen for a second. So to be clear, we've talked about how the user journey is always important when developing an ad campaign, not necessarily a perfect one, because you always have to make changes almost at every stage. Is that correct? Right? But I think one question that I have is, are we saying that, you know, as a small business owner, you cannot develop the perfect ad campaign without the help of an ad expert? Is that also something that we're saying? It just doesn't work? Okay, but meanwhile, what skills, I think I'm directing that to Mr. Alex, what skills would you say are key in utilizing ad tech for business growth?
Yeah, I concur with what we discussed, that you need great content creation skills, and Susie obviously mentioned it, that content is king, and it has to be engagement relevant, up to date, right, and attractive. And like Miyawa said, that's a user journey. So one of the things I actually really believe that we need to create more choices for people to get more sources of content and more formats and more different techniques how to create and deliver the content. And that's why the market is evolving so quickly right now. I want to mention that one of the things that OneWorld is working right now is a content marketplace, which supplements what we're doing for publishers, because advertising, it's really common in 2 ways. Some is organic awareness, another one is a true promotional campaigns. And what we're doing is a built-in marketplace where publishers can take both the editorial content from the marketplace, from the army of freelancers that's available today on the market, and get some editorial, some organic content that can be run on their website. And I think this Uber-style content delivery is the future, because you have demand on one side and supply on the other side. And it's really challenging today for content creators to find their markets. And on the other hand, for publishers and advertisers also, it's kind of challenging to find the right sources of information, and especially on an ongoing basis. And I believe what this industry really needs is an open marketplace, like what Uber did for transportation and Airbnb did for lodging, and many other companies created this marketplaces based on gig economy, but just connecting demand and supply. We're working on this very hard, actually, almost 2 years, and building this marketplace on the blockchain. I think that's where I see the future of advertising, because the agency style that exists today is okay. There's some challenges, it works, but there's some challenges. But I think what's missing completely is some kind of big, convenient blockchain-based system, which makes it easy for both content creators and publishers / advertisers to get what they need. And we actually will be announcing it in September. There's already a pilot going on. We have major names that will work with us on this development. I think the world will be surprised when we reveal this product and show how beautiful it is. Very much like Uber solved the transportation problem. Remember, before Uber, how it was hard to get a taxi in the city, where you are first time when you're on the street, like Travis said, I'm on the street in Paris, I cannot get a taxi. What kind of world is that? No, something is broken. So we believe in the content / advertising world, we have paradox, because it's very crowded, there's a lot of players, everybody's involved, but they're still very difficult to do certain things. And I believe in any market connecting demand and supply in a really simple and convenient way, especially based on the smart contract, which makes it automated and very fair and transparent. That's the future. I just want to put it in front of everybody, saying, yes, the current market and current technologies are okay, but it could be much better. Jinrada, it looks like you're on mute again, but we can engage Suzette if you want to add something. I know you create a lot of content. Would be interesting for you to participate in the marketplace of content on either side, supply or demand?
Yeah, I was going to say that would be a very great platform to have, because a lot of businesses out there, especially small business, they don't understand when you tell them, oh, I built content, this person is going to handle this aspect. We have to get another agency to handle this aspect, or another agency to handle the back end aspect. They look at it as, are you crazy? I thought you do everything. They don't understand that nobody does everything. Everybody specializes in an aspect of digital marketing, and together we make the marketing work. So it will be a great platform to have, and I look forward to seeing it and being part of it.
Yeah, we'll invite you in a beta test very soon. Yeah, and it's interesting how people see the value, because everybody has their unique cases which are very relevant. And one thing I just want to mention, this marketplace works for both the editorial content and editorials. And I was really surprised to see a recent update about the market size of editorial or native advertising. We always estimated like 70 to 80 billion annual, but apparently there is a projection now that's going to grow to 400 billion by 2025. That's amazing. That essentially means that native advertising is taking over display ads and many others in the traditional formats, and it's going to become #1. And I think it's perfect from our point of view, from One World point of view, because native advertising is a piece of content, right? That represents some story from the brand, from small business in an organic way, which could be an article with some images and interactive poll embedded into it. So you deliver a message, you measure the outcome, and you deliver it through a beautiful marketplace to a pretty wide audience. I think that's the world I want to live in, when things are more organic, not driven by big tech, but the data, like Mayavi said a few times, the first-hand data comes straight to you, Mr. Small Business, so you benefit from it, not somebody else. I think the advertising industry must be disrupted big time, and it should be coming to more organic, direct relationships.
Well, thanks for that. I see that you all are building connections, and I love that.
We're business people, right? Go to the business, not just talk about things, but actually do something, right?
Oh my God. Okay, well, very quickly, is David back on? Oh, I can't see him. No? I don't think so. So, okay, Miss Suze, this one's for you. So I was wondering if you could offer up some tips to creating digital content for advertising and marketing while people are still trying to gather the money to hire people like Mr. Alex here.
So in creating content, most times, especially when you're just a startup and you're really small, I always advise that they get some form of training. I hope I'm not okay. That they get some form of training. There are a lot of training out there. I know Google trains people for free for basic digital marketing, and they need to understand how to do, because it's really not about getting a fine image and plastering some words there. You really have to understand creativity and how creativity is brought in to build communication that will actually persuade someone to take an action. So when you understand that, understand how design plays a role in building that content, and how it is key to understand your competition and your audience, it's easier for you to create communication that works. So even if you're a PhD holder and you do not have any background training, you can't make it work on your own. You have to go for some form of training or the other, or get a consultant to put you through.
Okay, got it. Mr. Biwa, do you have something to add to that question?
Yeah, absolutely. You see a lot of small businesses owners start off by doing it, keep it very simple, putting out stuff on their WhatsApp status, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But you can only do that for so long. You need to refine and hone your crafts over time. It helps you, when you start like that, it helps you build the connection and understanding of your consumers, your audience. That is good. However, as you get bigger, then you need to start refining and start acquiring those skills, go for the training. There are a lot of open source materials, resources, trainings. Yes, Google, Facebook, they do a lot of that. You could also ask Sue to send her invoice, so she can help you set up your template, your social media template, your content calendar, and all of that stuff, your content pillars. But you need help after a while. That's just my key call out to SMEs. You need help after a while.
Okay, and Mr. Alex, I am almost certain of your answer, but I'm guessing you agree with both of them.
Yeah, I think it's a combination actually of both, right? You need subject matter experts to help with the, especially the planning, strategic planning of campaigns. But I also believe in tools and algorithms. My background is AI. I studied AI. I did my PhD in AI, and was involved with talented people all around the world. They're doing very interesting solutions based on AI. It's not black and white, of course, right? There are certain limits to anything you can do with algorithms and code, but I believe that we need both. We need very smart people, experts at the beginning for planning. But when you go to execution, I believe that as much as possible must be automated. And that's why I believe in blockchain and smart contracts, because when you go from planning to execution, of course, yes, somebody should look at the data and analyze it. There's no doubt about this, right? But in terms of, like, for example, doing A/B test, trying different creatives, watching the campaign and making certain adjustments, or finding the right media placements, there's so many elements in it that could be optimized and automated with algorithms. So I hope it can be done. And plus, it's really good for cost reduction. The big challenge with small businesses is that they don't have resources to, like big guys, to have dedicated ad ops or somebody executing campaigns. So they need either get somebody, an expert to hire for the project, or use some automated tools. So it's usually the truth is in between, right? You need experts, but you need automation, right? Depending on which stage of the project you're in.
Okay, and Mr. Alex, I mean, I'm personally familiar with what One Wall does. I basically know how it helps and provides a wonderful communication channel for big businesses and all that. But how can small business, especially in this part of the world, our market is quite savage. It's very difficult to navigate through our market right now. But how can small businesses in Nigeria and Africa as a whole connect or benefit from your platform, for example?
Yeah, one thing I think is very important in One World platform is they have a loyalty program. So brands, small businesses can actually build loyal audiences by giving them incentives in the format of virtual points. They can be redeemed into either cryptocurrency or discounts for actual physical goods, or some way to use these points on the websites or get some benefits and some services. I think it's huge, actually. I'm thinking about Nigeria or Africa in general, Latin America, some parts of Asia. It's very good markets for this type of incentive programs, because people are getting used to this online incentive model, and they like the cryptocurrency, as a concept, that there's some additional type of money that people can use very easily and do direct payments to each other or exchange value online in general. Because I believe Web 3.0 is coming. We live in a Web 2.0 world right now. We exchange information mostly on the internet, but Web 3.0 is exchange of values, right? Including cryptocurrency, including some digital assets, including anything online. And it will be surprising, but I think many people see it, that this revolution is going to happen first in the regions that are not North America, not Western Europe. It's going to be Latin America, which is doing great. Like El Salvador just adopted cryptocurrency. Many other countries following. I know people in Nigeria are very much into cryptocurrency. They like it. They want to be part of this new economy. And I think it's a perfect place to build more awareness, right, and get more people involved. It's truly inclusive. I believe that this is a true inclusivity, when people that are unbanked or don't have access to all the resources that other countries in the world, they should be involved in this. And I think that also applies to the advertising industry, right? Because if people are incentivized and motivated and start this communication with the brands and participate in online activities and then see advertising or get some other benefits, that's can be linked to this use of virtual assets very easily. Like any registered user should get incentive, for example, right? If people come to the website and they see, okay, you can get some points and convert them to some goods, and they register, they get bonus. I think that's a future model, because this engagement starts with incentives, right? And when people are more involved, there's a first-hand data that we discussed, there's a more interest from people to keep coming back, the retention goes up. So that's essentially what I see as advertising, and engagement should be supported by incentives, and blockchain helping that. So Nigeria would be one of the countries where I think it's going to be very possible. I know there's regulations and there's contradictions like everywhere else, but you cannot stop the progress. If people like some technology and it actually makes their life better, it's going to be adopted sooner or later. It doesn't matter who's standing on the way.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Muyiwa, I know you work with Insight, right? Am I correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, like, so how do you think you guys also can help small businesses in Nigeria right now?
Okay. First of all, Alex's comments, he sounded like a Nigerian.
Yeah, maybe I am. I don't know.
But yeah,
Insight.
You're so optimistic about the opportunities. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I work for Insight Redefini. That's the group Insight Redefini that has the Insight Publicist, Starcom Media Perspective, Leo Burnett, and All Seasons Zenith within. I head digital for the group, so it's my job really to deliver value in terms of for our brands and of course for the industry at large. We know that Insight has been in this market for over 40 years, and we've taken small businesses and turned them into mega giants that they are today. So we know this is what we do, right? And we evolved from that traditional up to being a digital first marketing solutions agency today. In terms of what we do, we work very closely with the tech giants in this space. Speaking of Google, Facebook, Twitter, Eskimi, to bring solutions and value, we mentioned value, to our customers, to our stakeholders. One thing that's important is that, like I said, most of our clients today, they've adopted the need for having first-party data, and we're helping them drive that charge. There are a number of local partners as well that are providing the data management platform systems. Alex might know about Terragon. They're doing fantastic work here as a local company, and they're really reaching in that space and growing in that space as well. So the focus is there. We know what we need to do, and it's about, for small businesses now, how do we scale down these solutions, these opportunities for small businesses? Because if you look at the cost of having access to a DMP by Adobe, for instance, or Oracle, that you'll be paying $300K a year just to have access, right? That model obviously cannot work for small businesses, which is why we work with our partners, Facebook, Google. I personally am part of a community called DigiClan. We're present in 4 countries, and we essentially help people understand digital, both enthusiasts or professionals, and of course, businesses, to say that from where you are and where you want to get to, this is how to go. Come to get some training, know how to create your own creatives using the specification for each of the platforms. These are the best practices. Use a Canva. Canva is going to integrate with LinkedIn very soon. You'll be able to do that as well. Here's how to set up ads on a budget. For instance, we worked with Visa sometime last year to run a campaign called Where You Shop Matters at the height of COVID. And we're saying that, how do we support businesses, especially when everyone was locked in? And the major concern was that, how does the shop, the lady selling groceries down the street, how does she reach her customers, right? How does she sell? And how does she get paid? Payment was an issue because people couldn't go to the banks to withdraw cash, right? So how does she receive payment securely, fast, and in a way that, you know, is trustworthy, right? There could also be a reward system, like Alex mentioned. What's the incentive? People want that added value, and it's Visa came into that system as a payment solutions company, and we worked with them to help them seamlessly onboard merchants and help them set up payment gateways where they could now sell their services. Also worked with partner logistics firms to do the delivery. That was how we took a problem and solved it. It's really not about what tools, what fancy tools are out there to use. Just see the problem, craft a solution, work with the tools that you need to get it done. You don't need to bring a rocket launcher to a knife fight, right? So that's essentially what we're doing as Insight. We're definitely working with our partners, working with the brands that we work with, working with the communities across board. And I personally as well, I do that within my space. But essentially, it's about creating value in a world where really the value is limitless. Even in the eyeballs that you have coming to your page, you can monetize that. You can also have delayed rewards. You could incentivize action from your customers or even prospects to further drive them down that sales funnel and convert and bring value to your company, and return on investment you can measure. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you for that one. Ms. Hughes, do you have anything to add to the conversation?
Well, I think a lot of people are doing a lot to help groom SMEs and even individuals that want to become entrepreneurs on how to leverage digital, especially ad tech tools, to build their business and push communication out there. It's just left for each person to make the effort to go out there and look for someone to help them. Yes, you can get some free, but you would definitely not get a comprehensive package if you are not ready to spend some money to get the best for your company. As Muyiwa said some time back, no matter how you try, you must still get to spend some money to build your business. In short, I think that's how everything grows in this world. If you don't give out, you don't get back.
Yeah, I hear you. So, but time is fast spent. So I'm just going to ask 2 more questions, and I want everyone to just, contribute very quickly on those. I think the first one I have impacts the generation of revenue. In the end, every business just wants to make some money. So, I mean, how would it impact the ultimate goal of generating revenue? Muyiwa, you could go first.
Could you please rephrase the question? Repeat the question.
I said, how does leveraging ad tech impacts the generation of revenue?
Okay. So one of the things that advertising technology allows us to do is to consolidate all of the opportunities, the data, the insights, past performance metrics reports to help us with our current initiative or campaign. And that in itself allows you to drive down your cost per result across whatever it is you want, whether it's cost per reach, cost per conversion, cost per acquisition, cost per click, whatever it is, right? Because you're able to pull several ad exchanges, and this is a bit technical, but essentially you're pulling several suppliers or inventory across different ad exchanges and ad networks. And you're saying that, show me where my consumer is across all of these platforms. I am willing to pay X amount of money. Because of that scale that ad tech gives you, it helps you drive down the cost rather than if you have a smaller niche supply. It's like a supply and demand platform, right? And when you lace that with real-time bidding, then it makes it even more competitive and effective as well. So rather than you go to one platform, for instance, Google Ads, to say that I want to reach this number of people or this type of people on this particular platform. You could go to, say, a DV360 that has a whole bunch of ad exchanges, which also includes Google Ads, by the way, YouTube and all of that, and say that this set of people, how do I reach them across all of these larger pool? And that effectively drives down your cost to reach them and also helps your targeting. One of the benefits of that also is that because you've achieved this reach or impressions or clicks, you have the opportunity to retarget that consumer wherever it is that they go. That's one of the benefits of ad tech. You're able to retarget based on the action that has been taken. Alex gave an example of asking a poll and using the response from that poll to retarget a message that's peculiar and unique to based on your response to that. So effectively, it's more cost effective. It's more, you can measure your return on ad spend and return on investment if you use ad tech that allows you to pull several ad exchanges or several pools and serve your message. Of course, that's again where content comes into play, or varying messages depending on the consumer and what you're trying to achieve. So you'd get more bang for your buck, you get more return on investment effectively. That's how you actually make the best out of it and save money as a small business or as a business in general using ad tech.
Mr. Alex, do you have anything to contribute, anything to add?
Yeah, there are very, very good points Miawa just made about the cost efficiency and the more competition, right, for the user attention. I also want to add that there will be an increase in coverage, right, more exposure of the campaign, because ad tech tools like OneWorld allows you to reach out to bigger audiences that you would never expect, especially via organic traffic that will be coming through these engagement tools. Because imagine this, if the poll or quiz is becoming popular, and many people participate and share, then you have even more traffic coming to your site and people will see your offer, right? This is organic expansion of your audience. And of course, the feedback collection from audience is extremely valuable, right? Which helps you to sell more and increase the revenue. There's so many different angles, right? And so many different benefits coming from OneWorld platform. Sometimes we call it a Swiss knife for publishers, but it's also Swiss knife for advertisers because they can benefit in many ways. Cost reduction, bigger outreach, intelligence, right? Data coming from people. And of course, loyalty. I think loyalty is super important. We talk to many people and retention is a big problem, both publishers and advertisers, because they want people to continue dialogue with them and keep coming back. And that's what our platform helps to solve, which is ad tech and not only. I would say it's advertising technology, but it's also content marketing technology combined.
I was going to add that it also saves you time, and we all know that time is money. So yeah, you definitely save money.
Okay, thanks for that. So final question, and this one I am actually very curious about. are we all saying now that ad tech is in the place where it can possibly replace other forms of advertising? Everyone go around the opinions.
You will replace traditional advertising, like offline advertising?
Offline advertising, regular digital buys, all that stuff.
Good question. It's probably not black and white, because there's some traditional advertising will keep coming back, like any technology. Like remember CD versus vinyl, right? Everybody went digital at some point, but then all of a sudden there are people that buy in vinyl traditional discs, right? And then enjoy listening music in an old-fashioned way. I think there's a place in this business for various solutions, right? It's just percentage is going to be changing, because people doing online advertising is of course the biggest market share by now, but I can imagine some other tools and traditional techniques might be still alive, right? And just apply it in certain verticals or certain projects. Why not?
So you're saying it goes full circle, goes around, comes around, right?
Yeah, because, well, the distribution of percentages will probably change, right? Because every circle is a bit different than previous one, right? There's always adjustments, because the human history is all about repeating certain experiences, but at a different level, right? And I think advertising, certain things will go away, certain things will come back again. But like, for example, people walking on the street and watching advertising, I think they will remain, right? The offline advertising, it just will transform to some new formats. You probably know about some few cool companies doing street advertising in a very smart way, when they recognize who is passing by and adjusting what they show based on the person that is approaching this ad, which is kind of really creepy on one side, but I can see why the technology can be used for that. Similar goes for online advertising. We'll see a different transformation of online advertising, dramatic transformation, I would say, right? And some elements of the old-fashioned, ads will come back. It's like retro, right? Because retro sometimes is good when you're using something that was efficient before, but now repackaged and coming back.
Okay, got it. Mr. Miwa, what do you think? Is it bound to replace traditional ads and all that?
So we are starting to see the rise of omni-channel marketing. And technology just allows us to continually deepen that. So what we're seeing is, and let's break it down to understand that what ad tech really is advertising technology. And whatever helps us to achieve better performance, better advertising, data-driven advertising or communication, that's really is it. So if I'm able to integrate my billboard, my digital billboard within my DMP that pulls data to say that this are the cars or eyeballs that saw this ad, pulls that within my data center, and is able to say that the people who saw this billboard ad, I want to run a display ad and serve them on their mobile phones. That is, you're now integrating offline to online, right? It's becoming omni-channel. So it's that same person. You could also do that to, we're going into, we're now having smart TVs, right? Again, you can say that this person who has watched this particular content on television, whether it's Big Brother or something or the news, I want to serve that person when he's going to work, riding his car the next day. What we're saying is that the opportunity is now there to use technology and new media, and of course, center that, take all of that information and put that within a DMP that can process that and identify the disparate data and make them unified. That is going to get better as technology improves. Once we can start pulling all of that together, we'll start seeing a lot more integrated. I think it's more integrated marketing rather than digital versus traditional. It's more integrated and it's going to get even much better. The smarter the technology gets, the more data that we have. That's how I see it.
That's a good one. Then Ms. Sue, do you have anything to add as well?
Not really, they've said it all, because in truth, there's nothing going to be like new media taking the lead and advertising dying. It's just going to be integrated, and they're going to evolve together and offer us something much more better. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks guys for all that. This was very, very educational. And I'm done with my questions, but we have some from the audience. There's one here, that person was anonymous, but they want to know, and maybe, Mr. Alex could start and you guys can contribute. Does design thinking solve for creating and implementing the marketing strategies for SMEs? Does design thinking solve for creating and implementing the marketing strategies for SMEs?
Yes, very good question. I believe, yes, it's very important because design is everything. The appearance and the attractiveness of the advertising is the key. You will probably have a even better view, and Susie as well, because they're more involved in the creatives and dealing with the content. But from I see from campaigns we run in, yeah, absolutely. This is fundamental value, and yeah, media placement and creatives and design at the beginning is super important to deliver the message the right way so people hear it and respond to it.
Okay, Muyo, do you have anything to add, just quickly?
Well, I totally agree. Design is at the core of it. Just because it's tagged a fancy word does not mean it doesn't apply to SMEs. We should take it as a way of working, really, and a way of thinking. Yeah, absolutely spot on. We need to have that even for SMEs, especially for SMEs, because they are the ones that will grow into the multinationals that we're seeing tomorrow.
Very cool. So one last question from another audience member. When leveraging ad tech to boost a business, what are some challenges businesses should be aware of? So they want to know what challenges to keep in mind while trying to get into the ad tech thing.
I'll let Alex answer that, but let me just tell you, fun fact, please be careful when you're putting in the budget for the campaign. Don't add an extra zero at the end. Otherwise,
right.
Otherwise, you spend $1 million in a day.
Right. Big tech will take your money happily, but not necessarily deliver conversions. That's why people are so sick and tired of the big tech, because I think it's becoming too expensive, too restrictive, and also not sharing enough data, not giving the tools back to companies running campaigns. Yeah, it's really time to disrupt it. Yeah, and then budget, of course, I agree 100%. Budgeting it, that's the key.
Okay, cool. So I think that's all the questions we have, but very quickly, we have a video, or I think maybe there's no time for that. But guys, thank you so much. If you have any final words to say to everyone before we round this up. So maybe we start with you ladies first.
All I have to say to the SMEs out there is don't be scared when you hear big words like AdTech, MarTech, tools. They're actually easy to understand when you get the necessary training you need or consultants to work with you. If you really want to grow your business to that multinational, you have to put all this into consideration and work towards achieving that. Even if I always used to say, don't look at the budget. Just first look at the outcome. As Muyiwa said, let me bring it back again. Think of the end. Put the end in mind. What do you want to achieve? You want a big business. You want to give value to people. You want to grow a legacy. Then think of all that and then build the steps to achieving that. Because when you think about that, nothing will stop you. Budget won't stop you. I started off as a theater arts practitioner because that's what I studied as an undergraduate. And there's one thing our management lecturer used to tell us. He used to say, don't think about the budget. Think about what you want to achieve. Then work around how to achieve it. Because one of the greatest things about our mind and creativity is that we can achieve some things with low budget if we really think about it. That's where creative design thinking comes to play. So that's my advice.
Very
Thank
true.
you for that one. Mr. Muiwa, do you want to say final words? Anything?
Yes, first I'd like to thank the organizers, Business Day and netplus.com. Fantastic platform that I've seen you over time, and it's been really good. So I feel honored to be here. Thanks a lot. And to the audience, really nice engagement and questions as well. For SMEs, we are the lifeblood of the economy. SMEs are going to drive the growth of every economy. So it's important that we equip ourselves with the knowledge and the skill set and the tools to help us grow our businesses. And platforms like this really help us with that. Please feel free to reach out to, I believe everyone is open to supporting and answering questions even beyond this. Please feel free to reach out to us, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Alex, do you have final words?
Yeah, thank you for the great panel, and it was fascinating to hear our colleagues' voices and opinions. I think we're very much in line and see a lot of potential, right, for new tools and new approaches, and continue driving this market so people and small businesses can benefit. Yes, please check on our tools, and yeah, innovation I think is going to change this market significantly. So please stay tuned to watch our progress. Going to be a lot of announcements for One Road, and really value our partners too, and build partnerships all the time. I think it's all about ecosystems now, not much about the corporations or companies. It's people working together on projects, right? Doesn't matter where they are, what legal forms they're using. I think that's the future. That's what we can do, kind of help ourselves and not support big tech, but support people, small businesses, and kind of thrive without being dependent on big guys, just by building communities, good tools, and using them the right way. So let's continue doing that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The three of you have been amazing and very engaging. I personally have learned a lot. I am taking a lot with me. Probably I'm deciding to start a business soon, and I'll be giving all you all a call. You never know. But yeah, I'm so really thankful for you taking the time out of your busy schedules to do this with us. Business Day, as always, you guys are amazing. And to everyone who joined in, the SMEs, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this call. I'm sorry that we started late and then we extended beyond the anticipated time, but this was amazing. And hopefully we can gather once again before the year runs out to do something similar or better. And yeah, as he said, everyone is available to answer whatever questions that you may have beyond this, and we'll make the recording available on YouTube and other social platforms for you to rewatch if you want to. I think that's all. And I think just a reminder for SMEs, as a company, as a NetPlus, we are a payment service company, and we still have different solutions for your perusal. You can visit netplus.com.ng, that's netplus.com.ng, to see some of our offerings. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thanks, guys, and until next time, bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. Talk soon.